If you're not a member, use the promo code BONUS200. We will match with $200 of your initial deposit and keep the money in the game. Play through Naira Bets. We have a carryover, $98,633. There was a significantly less amount bet in yesterday's Pick 6 than the day before, because the day before, at least going in, it looks like a manageable sequence. Yesterday's sequence, I think most people looked at that and went, this thing's going to carry, I'm going to put a little bit into it, and it was just, wow, there was an explosion of some wild results, especially starting right out with them. So we'll have that double carryover, races 4 through 9. We also have a stakes race bonus, bet more to win more. What is it, if you bet at least $50 on any of 6 races, right?
At least $50 on our 2 stakes here. You don't have to bet all of them. Any of them,
yeah. You can make $5 per race. You get $5 per race.
Yeah, a bunch of the races at Gulfstream as well today.
Okay, so look that up on your Naira Bets app and opt in. Free extra money.
We'll do it again tomorrow at the Great Race Place at Santa Anita.
There you go. A big stakes card there tomorrow?
There's some stakes. The Robert Lewis, they made the Robert Lewis on Sunday instead of Saturday this year.
Ooh, that really changes it up.
Derby points Saturday
2:30 to 5, our races in Tampa. Got some stakes at Tampa. They're part of the cross-country Pick 5. Don't know why we have a slate for that, by the way. That is the 4th, 6th, and 8th from Tampa, and the 7th and 8th from here.
Here in New York,
yes. The 6th and 8th are both stake races at Tampa.
The Endeavor and the Tampa Bay. 3 turf races, in fact.
4th return of soft power.
We have tickets up for both the Pick 6 carryover and the cross-country Pick 5 over at Naira Bets.
Good luck in this Pick 6. Not going to be easy, to say the least. Race number 1. We'll take a look at the... I thought the favorite. Oh, well, no. The second choice. Excuse me. I think you and I. Let's start with our horse, Royal Currency. I just think the horse probably ran into buzzsaws in both the races and just seems like a super logical horse. And the other thing is, there's really not much speed signed on. And this horse could be the speed. Now we have a different track than we've had the last 2 days. But we have looked at a dead rail. I don't think speed has been fine, by the way. Horses that were forward have done well. You just don't want to be inside, really. There was some reason it was more in my head that a lot of races just fell apart. And when I was doing the track runs and going through the races. Horses that were forward pretty much dominated. There were some big runs from behind, but most of the horses that were forward did okay, as long as you were well off the inside.
Yeah, that seemed to be the case after wanting to be inside for a long while.
It'll be interesting to see what the riders do, because like the first person that goes the rail might be a genius, might be a dope.
Well, we'll see.
And riders sometimes in these situations, they tend to stay towards the outside because they feel it's sort of safer, but who knows? Maybe the inside's good again now that we're arrowed.
See what happens.
Yeah, it's hard to really know. And as far as know-it-all Audrey, last time out, thought this horse ran okay last time. Lost to a Bruce Levine good thing. I mean, this was a Bruce Levine horse that they just kind of knew was going to win. There was a massive tip on the horse, and the horse ran a big race to win. Wasn't a terrible race. This horse ran okay. I just, like you, think that Royal Currency's a better horse.
Yeah, just a better horse. It's had less opportunity, right? The time between races. Sue Ellen Michigan came back and ran against Open Company. You feel like the filly that beat her last time is going to be okay as well. So, yeah, I mean, you just feel like she's a little bit of a better horse, and she just hasn't had as many opportunities as Know-It-All Audrey has.
Yeah. Do not disagree. Got a first-time starter in Mentally and a first-time starter outside Tiffany Tail. Tiffany Tail actually has some pedigree. Tiffany Tail is a full to Tail of the Union. He's a pretty solid New York.
Yep.
Did that horse cost a lot of money?
I believe he did. That's the horse
Baffert
that
horse cost like
goes
$900,000
from Baffert to John Terranova.
Was he the Baffert New York bred that originally cost like $900,000?
Something like that, yeah.
That's the horse? Yeah, I was wondering that. Anyway, first-time star, and this one is kept by the breeder. Race number 2. Big scratch in here with Fenway coming out. You're going to have to explain to me the massive appeal of the morning line favorite Breadman, because I seem to be about the only public handicapper. I have no idea what's appealing about this horse.
I don't know. I didn't realize he was going to be the morning line favorite. So
seriously, everybody picks this horse.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
You didn't think he'd be the favorent, Mr. Steakface. You didn't think he'd be the favorite. Drinking early, huh?
I didn't really. To be honest with you, I didn't really give it much thought.
You might want to try, for the show, giving the picks and giving the races thought is a good. No, it's a good idea.
Who was
I find giving much thought to the races to be
going to be favored.
No, well, that's part of kind of giving handicap.
I guess Fenway had a chance to be
never occurs to you to think who might be favored and what the price of your horse might be?
I certainly didn't. I wasn't sure this horse would be favored. I remember thinking to myself after this horse broke his maiden and they ran him in the Sleepy Hollow that the only reason you're running him in the Sleepy Hollow is they're hanging 150,000 up, and he's by constitution, so you take a shot. But truth be told,
paid $340 for him. They didn't pay $340 for him to be a turf horse.
Yeah, exactly right. And his 3 subsequent turf starts just not very good. He's had some time between his starts, right? You had the 4-month layoff from the winter to the spring, and now we haven't seen him since May. So obviously having a tough time keeping this colt on the racetrack.
The kind of horse you usually pick, a bad favorite that's got nothing but layoffs. Aren't you usually against these horses?
I am usually against these horses, but truth be told, again, I think in hindsight now, this horse is probably a dirt horse.
Why?
Because I don't think his turf races are very good.
He was ineffective third as a 2-1 favorite in his dirt debut.
It was his second start of his career. It was his first start on dirt. He was a 2-year-old. He has every reason to improve. And let's be honest, is he facing the toughest day other than bunch he's ever going to face?
Hang on a second. It's one thing when you've got a horse that's got a little bit of a body of work that comes off a 4-month freshening, and you expect the horse to improve. That race was a year and a half ago.
I understand that.
I mean, this horse.
I didn't know this. Like I said.
I understand you weren't thinking while you were handicapping.
I don't think this horse
Most
is going to be that big. I mean, on the line, he's a point lower than the entry. I don't know if he's going to be that big.
He's going to be a gigantic favorite. Since you seem to be confused about it, I'll make it simple.
I am a little confused.
He's going to be a gigantic favorite in this race, and that's no surprise. He's stake-faced. The rest of them are basically claimer-faced. I don't get it, but I don't get the great appeal of him. I like the 1A Tapazirance. Let's take a look at his last race. We'll look at it from start to finish. It's debatable that he was best, but I think ultimately he was best. He breaks a little bit slow in here. He's a horse that can be forwardly placed, and I think with the outside post, you'll see a little bit more forward, as there isn't much speed with a scratch. So right in here, keep in mind, this is a race that completely collapsed, and he's sort of pushing him, and I don't blame him, to get towards the pace. And at this point, the horse in front of him comes over and completely stays him out of the race. So he's using energy to get there. He gets stayed out. It costs him a couple of lengths, and he's forward. It's going to get worse for him, though, in the stretch. I mean, I didn't have to really show the whole race, but I figured I might as well. So at this point, he's moving up. Now, the winner of the race, he's at Home Depot right now buying a tool belt. Okay, that's how far back he is. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but he's nowhere near being in the picture, and he's rushing him to get into the space.
Right there.
There's the winner getting into it. Now, in the stretch, I would say a little inexperience here by Jose Gomez, because he's hitting the horse right-handed, and you didn't want to do that. You're going to see him keep hitting, and in doing so, the horse is lugging in a little bit, and the race coming apart. And as he does that, he's not really getting that outside momentum, and now the winner gets it out of him, and as he's moving up to him, now obviously the winner was blowing by at this point, the horse in front of him bears out and cuts him off. So that horse with the yellow comes out, stops his momentum from going forward. That horse did get justifiably DQ'd. He would have finished second. The winner won easily at the end, but I think this is a horse that was never, he was a stop, he was a go, go, stop, go, go, go the whole way, where the winner made that big run. I think he could be more forwardly placed. I think he's in good form. He's had some trips in his races, and I think he makes a heck of a lot of sense in this race.
Okay.
You don't like him at all.
Johnny
Fontaine, Godfather moment for you? Other than liking the Godfather, what could you like about this horse?
I thought his race on the wet track stuck out, and I'm hoping, there's obviously some moisture in here.
Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, sorry I asked. Race number 3
You've made a lot of excuses for Tapazirance the last few times he's run.
I'm sorry. Tapazirance ran great 4-back. He ran huge 2-back in a race that collapsed. And last time out, we just saw what his legitimate excuses were. I'm sorry, you think I made them up? You picked a horse with no chance because you like the Godfather.
I didn't say you made them up.
Race number 3.
I think you're stretching with a horse that's going to be the second choice.
You think I'm stretching?
Yeah.
What am I stretching? No, let's go back.
You've made a lot of excuses for this horse in his last few starts.
Anthony, they're legitimate excuses. You think I'm stretching? I want you to explain why I'm stretching.
He doesn't win.
I want you to explain why I'm stretching.
He finds ways to lose.
Well, he loves a wet track. I mean, he ran a bigger fig at Finger Lakes in a wet track than your horse. And you've got him for it. You're a nitwit. You're a complete nitwit. Race number 3. Okay. Anthony and I do like the same horse in race number 3. I'm stretching. And you picked a horse because you like the Godfather.
I didn't pick a horse because I like
That's the only good reason you come to like it.
He's 10 points faster on his wet track race than the others, and I don't really have a lot of faith in any of them.
Let's take it apart. He got loose on a sloppy track at 4-5. He has no chance. Race number 3. We'll take a look at Happy Medium, a heavy favorite. He's good. He's also the lone speed and a likely winner.
Yeah, there's not much to say here. I mean, he has such a decided advantage on the front end. He's so much faster than these horses. I'm looking forward to seeing him handle. I shouldn't even say handle. I'm looking forward to seeing him going 7. I think this is going to be an interesting stepping stone to the Carter for him. and then what they do from there. I mean, if he can handle the 7, I would imagine the Met Miles a race on the radar.
Why would he have a problem with 7 furlongs?
I'm not saying he will. I'm
So
just
what are
saying
you
you want
worried
to see. You know, there's not much. If
You think he was gonna fall apart in that last
if he
half
runs
the
to his
furlong
last 3
last time?
races, especially the one 3 back and last time out. I mean, they're all running for second money. So, you know, try to find a little.
Aren't you
little
worried,
something
Anthony, that the lowest fig he's run this year by far is on a sloppy track,
That'll
Mr. Wet Track
that'll
guy?
still beat these horses.
Well, no,
See,
it won't.
I wanna
It
hit-
actually won't. It actually won't necessarily beat these horses.
Okay.
It's not going to beat the race that Hopeful Treasure ran last time. It's not. It's
I
not
don't-
going to beat these
I
horses.
want to know where that
No,
race
you're
kinda
Mr.
came
Wet
from.
Track. So you're not at all worried about his Wet Track being
No,
zero.
it was the second race off of the long layoff.
Oh.
Not worried.
There's
about
always a reason that this Wet Track doesn't bother you. Johnny
See, Andy, when you don't
Fontaine,
just-
you love it, 4 to 5, loose in the lead.
Well,
that one you
Johnny
love.
Fontaine's
This
going to
one,
be 30 to 1.
no, but he should be 30 to 1.
20 to 1.
No, he won't be, because
Whatever
there'll be
he's
other
gonna
nitwits like the Godfather that bet him. Hopeful
It
Treasure's
has nothing to do with the Godfather.
Hopeful Treasure's like, I'm trying to let you off the hook and say you picked
I don't
because
need
of the
to
name.
be off
I'm
the
trying
hook.
to be nice.
I'm good.
Who
I don't need
scratched
you to
here?
let me off the hook.
We don't have show
Nobody.
wagering.
Nobody scratched.
We don't have show wagering, but we have superfecta wagering.
Right.
So we should have 4 picks up there. Isn't the reason we have 4 picks up there?
I didn't even notice that.
Isn't the reason we list 4?
I sent 4 picks.
I'm sure you did. Isn't the reason we list 4 picks?
5, 2, 4, 3. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good idea. We have try and superfecta wagering. That's correct. So I'm 5, 2, 4, 3, guys. What are you, Andy?
I'm 5, 3, 4, 2.
Okay.
We'll be getting to that. Let's take a look at Hopeful Treasure's last race. I got to tell you something. This horse, I don't know where the heck this race came from,
That's the problem.
but this horse ran last time.
Yeah.
Beat
And
me.
You said it yesterday. Green Light Go came back and ran well. Monster effort last time. Even Chateau came back and got the job done. So it wasn't like he beat a bad field. Everybody came back and kind of performed. Where did this come from?
I agree. It's an outlier in his races. Okay. So you got Repo Rock second. You want to help me out with that
I
one?
just think he's probably in the best form of his career. I don't know where this horse's race came from last time, and if this horse runs back to his other races, there's not much difference between Repo Rocks and Hopeful Treasure.
How many lunches you want to bet me? I'll bet you Drafted beats Repo Rocks. We're at
bet you
97.
3. I'll bet you-
Anthony bought me lunch yesterday, by the way.
I'll bet you.
It was delicious.
I'll bet you 3 lunches.
Okay.
I'm willing to make. I'm gonna really pound this exacta today.
Okay. Save $5 for socks, so you're not broke after the
Yeah.
race.
I like this
You've made
exacta
so much
today.
money with Johnny Fontaine.
Right. Exactly. That's what I figured.
Race number 4, likes a wet track. Race number 4
That's
kicks
what I
off the
figured.
pick 6. We have a carryover. Is that correct, Francisco? $98,633 in race number 4.
Where is it, Francisco?
You're the man. Francisco's the man. He's actually not sleeping today. I have no replays for this race. Who did you pick?
I picked Fazaro.
Is he a character in The
Kelly-
Godfather
for
too?
Kerry Breen. No.
Oh. Big wet track race at Finger Lakes for him? That hot Kelly Breen
You
barn?
don't stop, huh?
That hot Kelly Breen
You
barn?
really don't stop.
It's a John Atfield special?
You really don't stop.
What do you like with this horse? Collapsing the dead rail, a gold rail last time? You like that?
Third start of his career, he gets a pair of blinkers.
Do they come with an engine?
He's going to get to the front. He'll get to the front in here, I would imagine.
Yeah, helped him last time.
This is not the hardiest bunch of horses we're ever going to see.
Well, it's good because he's not the hardiest bunch. He's not the hardiest horse.
He's absolutely not.
I bet him last time. I thought he was pathetic, but okay. What do I know? And I can tell you something else. That race is coming back as kind of a stinker.
Yeah, it wasn't the best race.
And he
but
rode a
I
good
don't
rail.
know.
I get it. He's the speed. I got him third.
Yeah.
I'm giving you a hard time. I don't like him. I got him third. I guess he could win. I assume he's on people's pick sixes as the main speed in here. To me, the 5 Illustrious is way the horse to beat for Tom Morley. His last race was not particularly good, but to be fair, well, he was only on the rail for about 60% of the race. And that's the problem with him. He was down on the inside in a good rail, much like the 2 was last time, makes him vulnerable. I'm going to take Red Revolution, a horse who ran a track that, the more I look at, I think it was one of those days where the inside was good for the first half of the card, and then it sort of evened out after that. It broke a half slow, took a lot of money against the heavy favorite that day in Print Track, who came back. Good skates, run well since then. He was a bit on the rail in the backstretch. He quickly moved up the 2 path. He was 2 to 3 wide in the turn. I get it. He didn't run that well in there. claimed by Robbie Falcone, who's obviously been on sort of a good run. He hasn't run that many horses recently. He seems to me to be the interesting alternative. I'm just wondering why you would have him third in the 2 if one of your reasons liking the 2 is he's only started twice.
Gone 2 months, dropping off the claim. I'm not too keen on that one today.
Okay, I'll bet you a lunch the 6 beats the 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Actually, no, I'm not going to take that because my horse stops and the other horse can just pick up pieces. I'm not taking that bet.
Wait a second. My horse stopped worse than yours last time.
Your horse wasn't really...
Anthony, you don't have to make the bet, but it was the most pathetic reason for not making it ever.
Yours has a little kitchen sink stuff going on, and I'm messing with that horse.
Okay, but he did stop worse than your horse. Will you acknowledge that?
I mean...
Did he not stop
He
worse?
didn't really do any running, but
Did he not?
I guess
no,
he did.
he was
I
3
guess
lengths
he did.
behind. He went
I
3,
guess he
9,
did.
15, 19.
Yeah, that's...
Yours went in front, 4, 9. So I think I stopped worse.
Just regurgitating the PPs now, Andy.
I'm just trying to explain how stupid what you said was. Just trying to sort of get the level of stupidity. Race number 5. You got to be prepared.
It was Chestertown stupid. It was Chestertown.
Yeah, Chestertown. They knew, by the way. No tip on him, right?
No.
No story. Oh, no story. He was a
story?
speed in that race.
Who needs a story? A bad speed horse and a horse that ran once on the dirt.
Should we discuss your pick in the second race yesterday? You want to break them down individual picks? I mean, seriously, give me a break.
Chestertown. So I want to.
Yeah, you picked a winner. Congratulations. There haven't been a lot of them for either one of us.
Who did I pick in the second race yesterday?
The horse that was third in the 3-horse field. Okay?
Oh, well. Sometimes you got to take
I had the
chances.
Cold Exact. I just want to point that out. I just want
We
everybody to
don't
know.
take
I had the Cold Exact
Exact
with the 1 to 9 shot at top. Race number 5. This is a ridiculous.
You only picked the second horse
This
of
is
Steve Bick.
an absolutely ridiculous race. No, because the horse you picked had absolutely no chance, and the one was the perfect suck-up horse.
This race is probably the most affected by the minimal scratches we had today, right? Because of Flowers Felicia
Well,
coming
Fenway was a big scratch.
out. Yeah, I guess.
Flower Release is a big scratch because he was forward and the race
Complexion
doesn't
of
have
the
much
race,
speed,
yeah.
but he's a dreadful. I mean, he's in dreadful form. I didn't like
Yeah,
him at all.
no, I didn't either. But he's obviously whenever he's around,
It's an
he adds
annoying
pace.
scratch.
Yeah,
Maybe. Not always.
Yeah.
He's kind of losing that speed a little bit too. I can't trust your horse. I get he's the horse to win. I'd be. How are you going to trust this horse?
can't. But this is a, if this was a starter handicap, this would be the untrustworthy. I mean, who do you really want to rely on?
I'm not picking
here?
him at a short price in this
That's
field.
fine.
And we'll look at this race for Noble Thought 2 back, where he beat Playwright, who came back to win last time. The thing about Noble Thought was, and you fell for him last time, was that he got a fast pace in this race we're looking at to close into, just as Playwright did. And then Playwright got a super pace to close into last time in a race that totally fell apart in a very weak field. So both of these horses were dressed up by this race. Playwright's dressed up by his last race. Noble Thought didn't do any running last time. It was a race that you had to be a little more forward, which, by the way, didn't particularly help Runabout. And at least Runabout did a smidgen of running in this race. I mean, listen, I'm not going to be surprised by pretty much anybody winning this race. I mean, I look through.
You have a program? Is Derby Glass still riding the 8?
Derby Glass. The rider's name is Derby Glass. That's the name?
So Derby Glass is apprentice who has been training with Kelly Breen, came up with Jose Gomez.
Yes.
Yeah.
Derby Glass.
There you go. Great name, right? That's a if that's not a rider's name, I don't know what it is.
Great name if it's not yours. Yeah, that's kind of silly though. You've got a guy who's where's he been riding?
He's been training with Kelly Breen.
Well, he's 2 for
Kelly Breen.
49.
Yeah.
Where has he been riding? Do you know?
No, that I don't know.
But Anthony gets no information.
But he's been coming up with Jose Gomez.
I mean, isn't High Command a horse you have to move up after the scratch?
Yeah.
Isn't Jackie going to be forward with this
Yeah.
horse?
Jackie's been aggressive with
And this
almost
horse
everything
appears
she's
to
been
be the
on.
other speed in this
Yeah.
race. By the way, Derby is a she.
I didn't say a guy.
Oh, well, you could have pointed out it was a woman. Do you know did you notice, speaking of
did.
women, did you notice yesterday's
It was
event?
pointed out by many of our fans as well.
Yeah. We had a
Everybody's
trifecta
paying attention.
in the last race
Yeah.
of all women for inch 1, 2, 3. It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the women riders, I mean, Carol Sedania's not a New York rider, but Elsa Morrison, I think she's been riding well. No,
People who watch
Jackie's
races,
biggest fan.
People who watch races out of town know that Carol Sedania is probably one of the strongest riders on the East Coast.
She's a high percentage. She rides a lot probably for Jamie.
But
she rides for Jamie Ness, but
she's strong. Delaware.
mostly Delaware, right?
Yeah.
So Derby Glass, all right, and Derby Glass was riding at Monmouth.
Okay.
All right. So
That makes
I'm
sense with
apparently
Kelly Blue.
this reminds me of, and we should move along, when the first time that, who was the horse with the club foot that everybody loved, that ran at Saratoga, that won at Saratoga? The booby trap horse, Lisa's booby trap.
Booby trap.
The horse was in a 5-horse field at Saratoga. Eric had made the horse like the 4th choice or something.
Opened 1
I
to
didn't
5,
pick
right?
I picked the horse 5th. I didn't pick the horse in the top 4. And the horse opened up 1 to 5 and galloped. And Eric saw me, like, I think right after the race, he said to me, apparently we're the only 2 idiots around here that didn't. There's a big story about the horse and the Schenectady Gazette and the whole thing. And then the horse went off at even money in a turf race. And people got mad at me because I said, the horse was 1 to 5. I was doing the prattle in the paddock at Saratoga. And I said that a plane should fly over Saratoga and drop dunce caps down for everybody betting on this horse, right? Now, the horse ran dead last. She had
Right,
no
I
turf
remember.
pedigree. She was in one division of
She's
the
got a full running
risk
around
horse.
now,
Yeah,
right?
she does.
Decent,
yeah.
decent runner,
Anyway,
too.
as far as O'Shea Can You See? O'Shea Can You See is the kind of horse that's going to get. It's funny. I texted David Aragon on Wednesday after I handicapped this race, and I'm sure he looked at doing the line, and I said, I'm going to guarantee you that you and I are going to pick the same idiotic horse in the 5th race. When you start, I think people see Daniel Laxmere, they see Sammy Camacho, and they go, I don't want this horse. Well, I don't know. One thing about this field is every single horse in this race is either moving up in class or running the same class. They've all been running in bad fields. This horse lost a fast break, got wired last time on a speed track in a 16 claimer. 16 claimer behind Kumar with a slow pace that you couldn't close into. 12-5 race actually ran okay behind Big Mountain, Cecilia, Mike, and Kumar. I mean, you take a view, when you get away from all the, the rider doesn't ride a lot. I got no problem with Sammy.
No, not at all.
And Daniel Laxman, you get away from all of that. If this horse was trained by, Cantermachi, trainer, I mean, he's a good trainer. I'm just saying, Cantermachi, and
Horse would be
being
6
ridden
to
by
1.
this
5
horse,
to 1.
right? This is a horse who has, and let's face it, when these connections are winning races, this is the one. There's nothing
the
wrong
races.
with this horse relative to this
Well, we've
field.
kind of had a race like this, right? What they?
No, I think we've had 3 of them every day.
Well, we've kind of had one like this every day, where it's been a little bit of the right, dating back to the Lolita Shivmangal race. Was that last week? Yeah.
We've had a lot of these,
So-
and I just think this horse makes perfect sense. Once you get away from, I think this is the kind of horse that a lot of people look at the connections, they go, oh, I'm not going to bet these. And they're missing a horse that just makes perfect sense in here. That's all.
Okay.
We're done. We'll be back for the late pick 4 for more bickering on bickering horses.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
All right, we're back.
We
He's
are.
Anthony. I'm Andy. Race number 6. So big scratch in here. This was a big scratch too. Scratched out a major speed. I mean, this is one of the goofier horses. This race is a bring-back race. I think last Friday, the cancellation last Friday. I
I
think.
believe so.
Last Saturday.
Saturday. The weekend.
Just maybe even the Friday, 2 Fridays ago. It was either Sunday or 2 weeks ago Friday, because I
Okay.
didn't handicap last Saturday's card. The first time I've ever working here, I didn't handicap a card. Prisoner. I mean, what do? You have to bet against Prisoner, but you have to use this horse in the pick 6.
Do you have to bet against Prisoner?
You have to bet. Of course you do.
I mean, I picked against him as well.
You have
but
to bet against horses like this.
I guess.
How do you not?
You're using this horse on every multi-race wager you're playing, obviously, because if this horse runs his debut against this bunch, this race is history. I mean, he'll lap these horses
But
if he runs
over
this
a year
race.
and a
Yeah,
half ago,
almost
he
2
ran a
years.
maiden race. He looked like the winner of the Sanford at Saratoga on opening weekend, and we didn't see him again now for 20 months.
Tremont, he could have won the Tremont off this effort.
Could have won all of them. He could have been the favorite and the hopeful off of that race. I mean, all kidding aside,
Yeah.
we're actually not kidding. I mean, he could have won any and all of those races, and now he comes back out of Todd's barn with Rudy, running for $25,000 20 months later. He's all yours.
I know.
And even you picked against him.
Well, not going to be surprised if he
You didn't
wins,
pick a
but
horse who could
it's
win, but you did pick
impossible.
against him.
It's impossible. It's
A friend of
really-
mine texted me and he said, I can't wait to hear why Anthony likes Halpern.
It's really hard to bet. It's really hard to bet on Prisoner. This is one of those races where it's hard to bet on Prisoner, but for me, it was really hard to find somebody to bet against him. I took a
Fortunately for you, I didn't have
took
that
a little
problem.
shot with Halpern, and I'm just riding the hot barn. I mean, Michelle Giangiulio has done an amazing job with a small string. Got
How's he gonna win?
got
It
Eucharist home again
But,
last
but
week.
her horses
yes, the other day.
her horses aren't outrunning their PPs. She's running logical horses that are running their races. There's nothing about Michelle Giangiulio that says that she's just got her horses running their races. This horse doesn't have a race that makes him even remotely competitive. Does he? I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't see the overwhelming form in here to not take a shot with a horse that's going to be a decent enough price for a barn that's doing nothing wrong right now.
Okay. He can't win in his PP, so you have to hope that he proves. He rode a gold rail last time. He ran a buyer speed figure that makes him worse than most of the horses in this race. Okay, good luck. That's fine. I understand you're focused on trainers in ways that I'm not. Magnificent Chrome. I don't love drawing the inside. Who knows how it's going to be? I will tell you one thing. Prisoner's going to win this if he's a semblance of what he was as a 2-year-old. That's obvious. But if he doesn't, and this horse runs this race, this horse is going to win. This race fell apart. I mean, Raven Rocks and Ernie Banker came from the back of the pack to get it done. Now, both of them had a little bit of trouble, but this horse was 7.5 lengths clear of the 4th horse while running a 69 buyer and did it the hard way, doing all the dirty work that took care of anybody that was close to the pace in this race. This horse's last race will crush this field. Now, it's not unfair to say where'd that race come from, but considering there's a guy up here, and it's not me, that's infatuated by horses that improve on wet tracks, it's a little odd that you're not more enamored with this horse.
The biggest problem I had with this horse, Randy Prasad runs his horses an awful lot. I know this horse was the races were canceled. This horse hasn't run in nearly 2 months.
Well, first of all, there was a break after his last race, so he couldn't have run for at least 3 weeks. Second of all,
Well, this horse could have run back in the 10 days before the break.
realistically, this horse couldn't run for 3 weeks. And then there wasn't a race to run. And the other thing is, that's the reason you don't like it.
That's part of the reason. I mean, I put the horse third.
Moving on to the 7th race today.
Put the horse third.
Moving
But
on
yes,
to-
part of the reason for when a barn runs horses
I'm not
every
gonna
10
fight with this
days,
kind of lunacy.
And
That's
now
fine.
hasn't run 1 in 2 months.
People
yeah.
have different ideas of how they handicap. Fine. Race number 7. Race number 7 is an interesting race, and we'll take a look at the 3 Jokers Dust Devil race. The last time 3 Jokers ran, and 2 back for Dust Devil. Go ahead.
I went to 3 Jokers here.
I know.
I know Core Conviction didn't run particularly well in the stakes last time out, but he was chasing on
Well,
the.
he was chasing wide,
Yeah, he was chasing wide.
a wide and a gold rail, and he also bled.
I mean, this is a horse that's just I feel like he has kept much better company throughout his career. I think he's going to be more forward than most of his rivals in here. You got Chowder to set it. Castle Chaos will be forward. I think he'll be right off of those 2. I had the race 4, 5, 6, 7. You had the race the same 4 horses, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one mistake, I think you did the right thing, and I may have made a mistake. I don't disagree with you about 3 Jokers, by the way. It's just very logical.
Yeah.
He had a good trip last time, but he's very logical. He's shown that he can run well in these races, and there's nothing not to like about him. And I don't think Dust Devil is much worse. The one thing you did that I didn't do, and I think I think in retrospect I agree with you. You have No Burn second. No Burn actually ran very well last time in the Southern District race, and there's an argument that he may have actually ran a better race because that pace completely incinerated, and he actually ran pretty well. And a 1 1/8 is too far for him.
Yeah, that's what
I
I was
don't
about to
usually
say.
agree with that thinking, but a 1 1/8 at Aqueduct, it's not like a 1/16 loose in the lead at Belmont in the cruising along in the slop at Belmont. It's
Much
a big
different.
difference, and I agree with that. I think I underappreciated his race a little bit in my selections. I do like Southern District here, and I also think he's going to benefit from cutting back to a mile. He got a good ride from Manny last time, but to be fair to him, he was pretty close to the pace. And
He
this
was.
is a
Closer
race.
than I think closer than anybody expected
And
him
the
to be.
reason the 5 is problematic in here is that with Chowder and Castle Chaos in here, they're not going to be walking up front.
No, they're not.
Now, the benefit to No Burn is he's outside of them so he can stalk. But they're going to be moving up front, and I think that's going to help Southern District, who was closer. And I think in a mile 1-turn race, Southern District could probably drop back a little more and make 1 run. Southern District is a horse that I never understood why he went back to the turf. And I think he's proven that he's okay in the dirt. He's not, at this point, winning any stakes in the dirt, but he's okay, and I just think he's logical. I'm surprised you're as against him as you are.
You're
going to make up for it by picking early voting.
You're
hoping Seth's not watching.
His race last time, that race is a little confusing to me because, like you said, he was a lot closer, and now the blinkers come off. So maybe the blinkers off will help him settle some more. I don't know. I thought about putting No Burn on top because I do think he ran particularly well last time out. But there's the other speed in here. I thought about putting Dust Devil on top. Truth of the matter is, he just doesn't want to win. You just feel like he doesn't want to win, right? He's had a lot of chances.
I think any of them can win.
Back.
I don't disagree. I prefer Southern District, but I don't think it's.
Yeah.
I don't have a strong opinion. I don't think either one of us is particularly clever in what we're thinking. I think we're on similar pages.
It was kind of a move the chains race.
It just feels like a race where the pace is supposed to be pretty quick.
Yeah.
So moving on to the Withers, and it really came up a terrific race. I mean, it's really a fun race, and it's kind of the Jerome horses against the Maiden Breakers. And we'll start out and we'll show you the Jerome last time. And I actually am with you on the Jerome, and that the only horse I want out of the race is Cook Creek. Why don't you say, you picked him second, I picked him fourth. He's the only one you and I seem to want. Why do you prefer him out of the horses out of that race?
He kind of lost his position with 3/8 of a mile to go. He wound up wide on a day you probably wanted to be saving some ground. And,
wasn't that wide?
Well, I mean,
none of the first four finishers, you know that the difference? The first four finishers in feet, if you look at Trackus, 10 feet.
Wow.
Yeah. Plus 7 feet. Plus 7 feet for him, and minus 3 feet for the fourth finisher, Hagler. Isn't that fun? I mean, it's
That's
amazing
weird.
how close they were. Well, if you watch it, first we're pretty close to the inside. I agree with. But his
biggest problem here is the post because it's not a big run to the first turn.
I agree.
And he's.
Well, go ahead. Sorry. He doesn't have speed. He's not a speed horse.
He doesn't
and they
have
should
speed.
be moving a little bit.
But he's also not a drop back one run closer, so he could get lost in the shuffle on that turn.
Well, if we have yesterday's
I thought
track,
about picking him.
being outside is not going to be that big a deal.
It's not.
So
but you don't want to lose. First time around, I'm not going to say 2 turns because he broke his maiden at Delaware, but first time going a mile and 1/8, you really don't want to lose ground immediately hitting that turn. And he's going to.
Maybe. But the reason I like him out of that race is I believe he was taken out of his running style, and correctly so by Manny Franco and Jeremiah
the track
O'Dwyer,
a little bit.
because that track was incredibly speed friendly, and you were worried. I mean, people were worried about Hagler. I wasn't one of them, but people were worried about it. And listen, it helped Cavoisier, the fact that he was able to be forward in that race. That helped him. And I think Cook Creek was taken out of what he wants to do. In this race with a faster pace, I think he's allowed to settle. I don't like the post either. I agree. Obviously, you'd rather be somewhere in the middle so you can sort of make your position. But I think that he's going to at least get a more fair chance of running. Cavoisier, I feel like he ran fine last time. He is improving. I got to tell you, with all due respect, it's quite a big rider change from Jose Ortiz to Ruben Silveira.
Yes.
And I'm not sure why Trevor McCarthy, for instance, isn't riding, who's riding a long shot. I was surprised by that. For whatever reason, I don't think that's a positive. I feel like he had his day last time. And, smart enough to be fair. He closed in a race where a day when guys weren't closing. He got a very good trip to do it. He saved ground. He angled out. But he's an improving horse. I just wonder if there's too many maiden breakers in the air that look like they may have talent, that I just think there's going to be 1 or 2 at least better horses than the horses in Jerome. And that's more the reason I'm basically against them. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm scared of Constitution Lawyer on the outside. Now, in the inside. Now, he's the one who gets the best theoretical post, drawing on the inside. He was not flattered by the fact that Long Term came back and lost, but he didn't lose to Rob.
Long Term was not good the other day.
I didn't see the buyer fig. I should have looked at it. I forgot to look. Maybe somebody I know looked at it and texted me. The other problem I have is he was very much with the racetrack in here. But this is a horse I've always liked, and Ray Hanna liked this horse. This horse ran well in spots first time. He didn't win his second start because I needed him for $4,000, so that's why he couldn't win his second start. It was only $4,400, excuse me. I think he's a pretty good horse, but he is a horse that was very much flattered by the racetrack last time.
Yeah, everything went his way last time, and the horse
off the board.
Wow. He's the infamous 5th pick.
He's off the board. You can't defend it with a 5th pick.
Okay.
Long-term regressed 12 buyer points. Now, I don't think anybody's disputing that fig.
No.
But I think that fig was made by...
Well, you were talking about, you say it all the time, how the track
let me say something about Long Term. Wasn't he down on the rail?
On yesterday?
Thursday?
Thursday?
I feel like he was down the inside for a lot of the running of the race. It was the first race. People didn't know how the track was playing.
Yeah.
So he probably spent a great deal of the race inside, which ultimately hurt him.
He was on the front end.
So to be fair, I think that mitigated. So, and he was on the rail. But the other thing is he was on the rail in this race for a lot of the race, and the rail was the place to be. I can't pick a horse on top that gets a big fig benefiting from a bias. That's the bottom line. And early voting didn't. We'll show early voting. You picked him on top. I'll let you talk.
Yeah, I mean, this horse did everything right first time out, right? He's in the pace. It was a pretty good pace. He was able to get separation on the turn. He finished up nicely. Gun runner out of a Tisnow mare. The distance is supposed to absolutely be his friend. I am not in love with this draw either, but unlike Cook Creek, he has plenty of speed early, and he's going to be able, you would imagine, to find some position, especially with those horses immediately to his inside. Unbridled Bomber, no need to worry. Unoho, they really have zero speed. So he's going to be able to get around those, kind of follow Cavazier in, I would imagine. You're still looking at a 3-wide trip in all likelihood going into the first turn, but I mean, this horse...
Well, a 3-wide trip isn't really a bad thing on yesterday's racetrack, on the last 2 days. Did everything right, by the way, the same as hasn't done anything wrong?
No, because you like to see, he came home on a track that's been kind of slow. He came home in under 26.
It was a fair track.
Mile.
He wasn't helped by a bias. To win at a mile first time out and run a 76 buyer, and even Chad Brown had said to me before the race, while he thinks he's a good horse, he's far from completely cranked up. And he said it to me before the race. So it's reasonable to expect. I think he's been training well. Yeah, I think there's a chance he's a pretty good horse. I'm hoping he's a good horse. On the other hand, I don't want to take him as the likely favorite in this race because he's got all the accoutrements of overbet with Chad Brown, a blowout first winner, and Jose Ortiz. I think he is the most likely horse to come out of this race as an actual Derby contender. Though being a Derby contender right now means you can run a buyer figure of somewhere above 85. Right. It's one of the most embarrassing right now groups of all time.
It's a
quiet but okay, other horses in the race. I'm really interested in Grantham. Grantham's first race at Churchill Downs, to me, is about as big a key race as you'll ever see. And in my opinion, key races aren't races just because a couple horses won out of the key races. Because 2 horses might have come back and won in maiden claiming races at 3 to 5 and run 8 buyer points worse. If you think that's a key race, you're going to lose a lot of money betting it. To me, a key race is a race where horses come back. They don't have to win. I don't care where they finish. They run significantly better. The winner of that race was virtually eased. Came back and didn't do any running. If you throw him out, the 8 other horses that came out of that race, which includes Grantham, who's the only one that ran on a surface different than dirt and only improved 9 points. The 8 other horses, you ready? They improved 159 points.
Wow.
19.95 points. I bet a horse for Larry Jones out of that race in a very tough maiden race at Oaklawn last week. Got beat that much for third. Of course, I need him for third, but not that I'm bitter. But I was right. The horse ran a 50 buyer the race I bet it out of, in that race. He ran a 75 buyer. The race was one of the fastest maiden races, ran a 95 buyer, the sprinters at Oaklawn. That race has one horse, and it's not like there's 50s and 3s.
That was the Asmussen, that 5 horse?
Yeah.
Okay.
They were all significantly faster. I've got them written down. I mean, some of them. I haven't written down on the other piece of paper. But regardless, this is a major, major race. There's something I don't want you to miss, Anthony, please. So, and I think people are going to look at him and say, oh, he won in synthetic, he's a Declaration of War. This is a dirt horse, and this horse comes out of a major key race. And I really like him. I really like him. For my man.
It's the Race of the Week blog.
The man who humiliated you more than anybody I've ever seen. The man who ruined the Big Ace to Beal Saratoga.
The Race of the
Kirk
Week.
Wyckoff.
The Race of the Week. Yes, he was the man that ruined
Kirk
Saratoga. No
Wyckoff
question about it.
came out with his own club at that mini golf match, and he sank 3 hole-in-ones to begin it. The Big Ace to Beal was looking for a plane back to Howard Beach.
There is the Race of the Week blog is up at Naira Bets. Truth be told, I think you would have a hard time making a case for no need to worry, Unoho, and Mr. Jefferson. This is as deep a withers as you really.
And even Mr. Jefferson didn't run badly in the Remsen, and maybe he hated the wet. So besides the 7 and 8, I agree. There's a lot. I mean, listen, I know people like Gilded Age. I don't particularly like him. I think this is a much better field, but he's not impossible.
No, I mean,
improving maiden breaker.
Major General, Rattle and Roll, Giant Game. The blinkers went on last time. He ran by far the best race of his life. get a little time to mature. That takes
a
a
fun
couple
race.
months off the winter. This is a fun race. I think he's the horse that, and deciding if you want to play a long shot in here, you got to watch the board because David had to make a bunch of these horses kind of similar prices, rightfully so.
Yeah, there will be a horse or two that get lost here that maybe get that down.
If it's him,
stop talking. Get that down.
If it's him,
now, by the way, I know everybody thinks all I do is abuse the big A, which is fundamentally true.
It's 80-20.
But good friend that I am, I texted him last night. I was putting the picks in.
He did.
And I saw that Anthony picked the 11.
He gets away with as much as he gets away with.
Anthony put the 11 in on top of this race. I actually wasn't looking at all the races.
You know, I actually wrote it down, too. I don't know why I did that.
And so I texted him and I said, it wasn't, like, I wouldn't have a problem if you want to guess the 11. We'll switch to the 9th race, guys. We are done with the 8th, and I agree with you. I don't have a problem with you picking Salute to America, but you didn't have Golden Code anywhere in there. And I said, something tells me that Anthony...
These guys didn't change it.
It's supposed to be 10. Anthony's top choices. So there it is, just to prove what I'm saying. Anthony's top choice. Yeah, you have to send an email to them.
I did.
Telling them the pick change. He did.
I changed it.
Yeah,
I did.
He did. They get my pick changes when I send emails.
I don't send my picks now. I was told not to send my picks now until after scratches. So I send my picks after scratches.
Well, I did too, and they got all my changes.
I don't know.
No,
this is like a 10 or 11 to you.
Well, let's go to the replay and look at Golden Code, Anthony's actual choice over Rock Orange.
Actual selection, yeah.
I'll tell you what's annoying. Because we had to cancel that race in the fog the other day, we don't know how the horses came out of that race. We know Hot Stepper didn't run well, but he was also on a dead rail.
I thought Hot Stepper actually ran okay because he was on the dead rail and he just kind of petered out the last eighth of a mile.
He was bad, but he was on a dead rail. He didn't run okay. He was on a dead rail. He might not have run terribly, but he was on a dead rail.
Okay.
Nail that for me, will you? So
it's embarrassing.
He lost to a good horse in Bold Journey, right?
He did. Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think that's sort of the bottom line.
Yeah, Big Fig. I worry sometimes about these horses that run behind a Big Fig races, and you hope that they are able to do it themselves. The maiden.
He was bet that day. The winner was a very short price. It was a Bill Mott private purchase from Carlos Martin. I got nothing against him.
No.
I'm going to try the number 6 in here, the horse I think you have second.
Yep.
I just think a little less distance.
Guys,
I might prefer 6.
Guys, that's got to be 10, 6,
10, 6, 3,
3,
9 are Anthony's picks. 10, 6, 3, 9. They're sleeping. And I think Francisco's had enough of us for one day. And really, who can blame the guy? As far as Curlin's wisdom, I thought he ran very well in his first race. You know, he was chasing wide against a gold rail, and there it is, just like magic. And then last time, he got embroiled in a wicked pace that fell apart.
He did.
So there we go.
There's those we were talking about yesterday, boss making boss moves. We couldn't come up with a name. Remember I said the last race of the year? That was the last race of last year.
Oh, I couldn't remember which race. Yeah, he ran. But you liked him that day, and he ran. That was a good pick. He paid like $12. I didn't like him at all, and you really liked him. That was a good call. Okay, so that was your last. So there we found your last winner. There we go.
No Moped Dennis for you. I thought Moped Dennis ran okay first time.
Who did?
Moped Dennis coming back quick.
No, I don't like him at all. He was on a gold rail. He's actually the one I want to book in this race.
Okay.
The horse I think is actually interesting in here is the 2 if you want to bomb to get in your super.
Okay.
This horse ran well last time. And by the way, the Jimmy Bond barn, Saratoga's coming in the winter. They always do well in the winter.
How about Galena back to back?
Somebody knew, because the CAW players had the horse about 12-1.
He was 5-1 in the win pool.
And nobody knows the exact. They paid twice what it should have in that race. They only notice when they're too low. It's funny how that happens. Head over to Naira Bets if you're not a member of Naira Bets.
Guy's on fire today. Be careful.
Now is the time. Use the promo code BONUS200. I'm correct. Bonus 200. Keep Anthony employed 200 if you want to really do the right thing. We will match the $200 of your initial deposit, and you can be a member of Naira Bets. Enjoy the many fruits that Naira Bets has to offer, including the Pick 6 carryover of $98,633. Races 4 through 9, good luck. Fun sequence. Good races today. We've got the stakes race bonus. Look it up. 6 stakes. You can bet $50 or more in any or all of them. You get $5 per that you bet. What else do we have, Anthony? We have a cross-country Big 5, by the way. 4, 6, and 8 from Tampa. 6 and 8 will be shown, both stakes, on America's Day at the Races. And the 7th and 8th here, 2 excellent races at Aqueduct, a nice sequence. All on FS2, 2:30, 2:05. Anthony, it's been a pleasure.
I think I'm going to be TikToking later.
I feel sorry for you. Anyway, when I think TikTok, I think a lot of people will agree. I think there's really synergy between Aqueduct and TikTok. We're done. Johnny I's up next. The reprise, the scratches and changes.